with the dog of today. Today's dog, starring Tank. This is going to be my second take because the first video, I don't know if you can say certain things on YouTube. I know we have rights, but giving legal advice is strictly prohibited. I'm pretty sure. Unless you're a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. But let me turn this up. If you're out there, I just want to welcome you in. Thank you. My closet's kind of messy. I wanted to talk about thank God for justice. And I just had a couple thoughts. Nothing like crazy, but as we go on in our lives, sometimes we're watching the news and it's a lot of crazy stuff going on, like normal, right? And welcome in if you're out there. There's a lot of crazy stuff, but this has been, if you go back in the Bible, way back in the day, it was actually worse. I mean, they were actually sacrificing children, like Moab or whatever. They had, like, they were sacrificing people to the god or whatever. So that's not where we're at today because we have a justice system. This is not legal advice, but what I wanted to share, as you watch the news, like either us or like if you're sitting with your children, yes, it is terrible, the stuff that goes on, but we can learn from this. What we can do is we can actually show our children like the consequences that these people can be facing, because on the news they only give you what's going on, but they never tell you like what are the consequences. Obviously most people aren't going to do them things or whatever. But thank God we have a justice system. And I just we have justice in this country. And if we do something wrong, we have to go to court, right? It's just the way it is. Um, and not like I'm so perfect or whatever, but every time I was speeding, I had to go to court. Whether, whatever I was doing, you have to go to court. So that's another thing to think of before we take a step, speeding and stuff like that. Just weigh how much is it really going to cost you, because I can't afford to a speeding ticket. I can barely afford groceries per week, yet alone pay a speeding ticket, and then our insurance goes up. So the main thing is, even though we want to speed, I go like 5 over usually, and usually the police are pretty good. Um, they don't usually bother you. Most places, they give you like 5 miles over, unless you're in like extremely strict town. But most people aren't going 5 miles, under 5 miles over the speed limit, right? Let's be honest. Um, but that's the thing. I can't afford to get into trouble. Some people have tons of money and they can pay all these lawyer things, but still, you still have a record and stuff. After we have to go to court, you have all this trouble. It's time, money, energy, right? Hey, Choppa Duck. How are you? It's like we have to spend so much money. When you go and get these tickets and stuff, you have to spend time from work. You have to spend money. Then our insurance goes up. It's like, I don't have money for that. So weigh your consequences before, you know what I'm saying? I don't have money to get in trouble. Some people do. And then some people, you want to protect your name, right? It goes a long way when like when they run your license, you have a clean license. It goes a long way for you when the police run your license. Like I said, this isn't legal advice, but it does go a long way. And for our young children and young teenagers, it's very important that we teach them not only maybe you get away with shoplifting, but there's a consequence, the name, right? So when you're shoplifting, yeah, maybe you're not going to jail, but then you have this on your record. And jobs see it, like the juvenile record, I'm pretty sure is sealed to a certain point. But if you do like a serious crime, obviously it's not. But as we get adults, if we're shoplifting, you know, it's going to be on your record. And most places, like, let's say you wanted to get a job at Amazon, they're not going to hire you if you have shoplifting on your record. It stays with you for the rest of your life. DUIs, if you want to have like a job, like driving and stuff like that, a lot of people, won't hire you for driving if you have a DUI on your record, and it makes your insurance go up so much. This, I have no idea what you're talking about. Ductwork. Yeah, I guess if you were like HVAC person or whatever, but certain companies aren't going to hire you, right? But we can always turn around and whatever. But what I want to say is, like, as you watch the news, the main thing, I'm getting off of here soon. The main thing is, as you watch the news, just look at what the people do, and then you can teach your kids by looking up. It will tell you online. You can find out how many years is this going to carry, and then you teach that to your kids. And then tell them, do you really want to live in prison? A lot of people go to prison for their entire life. I know somebody that was in jail and prison for over 15 years. He couldn't keep himself out of trouble. And, I don't wish it on anybody. But it was because he didn't want to follow rules, defiant. And sometimes we don't, but there's a line that you cross. It's like crossing that line. There's things, it's not like you're going to follow every single rule, but when you cross certain lines, like stealing cars and stuff like that, Grand Theft Auto, that's when it becomes, you're facing prison time. You know what I'm saying? You have to face you have to go in front of a judge, a grand jury. And, hey, Tony, how are you? Anthony, Tony. Oh, Bass Boy, how are you? What's up? I just, I don't know if you know anybody that's been in prison, guys, or if you ever been incarcerated. But I know somebody that's been incarcerated, and the thing is, I'm sure anybody that's been in there can speak from the truth. Not a day goes by that you don't look behind you as you're in the prison. You don't get to choose what you eat in a line. You can't just walk around. You're locked in. They tell you what to do, where to do, how to shower. You're not getting 20 minutes to take a shower. It's like a 2-minute shower, if that. You're constantly watching your back. So that's why these things, like the games that the kids play sometimes, is terrible. Because even though it's a game, and yes, I mean, they're like Grand Theft Auto, for example, like if they really start to think that this is real, it's bad. They should be playing like Sonic the Hedgehog, or like, like something like that. I'm not going to tell you how to raise your kids, obviously, but you know what I'm saying? Because it desensitizes you. Like, as we watch the news, this stuff desensitizes some people, where they start to think that this is like the glamorous lifestyle of the criminal lifestyle. It's the gangster lifestyle, okay? And I used to live next to like gang members and stuff like that, and they never bothered me. I never bothered them. They never bothered me. I kept to myself. But they glamorized the gangster lifestyle. But if you talk to somebody that was a gangster, and I mean, this is sometimes the lifestyle, okay? They've been in this lifestyle since they were born. They were born into it. But, yeah, he's a black lab. Well, he's a black lab mix. Yeah, you. What's your name? What's your name? Some people are born into the lifestyle, but you don't have to stay on that path. But, if you were to talk to somebody, right, Junior, maybe some people, some of your friends. I have quite a few people that have gone to prison, have gone to county jail and stuff, and there's only so much you can do for them, because if the judge gives you that sentence, nobody can take that away. It sucks. And I don't know how much I don't know what each thing carries, but what I was saying, Junior, is like as we're watching the news, right? We can share with our kids. This person, yeah, maybe they did this on the news and it's shown, but this one carries so many years, and just think about all the money you have to spend on the lawyers and stuff. So save yourself the headache and the trouble in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because if we were to sit in jail, it's not a good place. Okay, you have no freedom. Be poor on out here. Keep yourself. Don't take other people's stuff. Work the hard way. You can have success by working. We can all have success. It takes a lot of dedication to make success, right? Junior, I mean, especially with everything getting so expensive, but never look or lust after somebody else's stuff. Just be content with what God has blessed you with and always thank God for the blessings. And if you need something, ask people. There is like Facebook Marketplace, but of course, like gold chains and stuff, most people aren't giving this stuff away. But just be content and don't lust after the riches that other people have. Don't, let's say, covetousness. That's when you're lusting after somebody else's stuff. Don't let your eyes drift. Just because somebody can go on vacation 3 times a year and I barely can, you know what I'm saying? But I don't care. We just keep ourselves. Just if you want to achieve something, you have to just work your way towards it. And at the end of the day, when you're resting in your bed, and even if you only had an egg and a piece of bread to eat, at least you know that you have your freedom. It's not being undisciplined. Freedom is costs a lot of money. Look at the soldiers going in. So never take that for granted either. We should never take our freedom for granted. That the soldiers and all the people who paid this ultimate sacrifice for us and our parents too. Maybe your parents are into that gangster lifestyle, but you can save yourself. I know people that are like that. But sometimes you come from a good family and then you wind up going to hang out with the gangster lifestyle. Well, those people aren't going to be there for you when you get into trouble. It's going to be you facing the judge and a jury of 12 people sitting in a courtroom. And I'm going to tell you, them people aren't going to be there. And even if they are, do you really want to walk that lifestyle? Think about it. Save your life, while you can. That's what we can learn from the news. And that's what we could teach our children. Because I'm going to tell you, the people, if I was to interview people that have gone to prison, which I know people have gone to prison, it, you're going to hear stories that are like horrific. And until you walk the day in their shoes, you'll never understand. But this is the consequence when we do stuff that's destructive. There's all levels of the justice system. But some people make it a career, like a lifetime thing. Once you're in the system, it's like people wind up, you meet up with people and stuff, so you have to break this cycle. For your actions, and people can end up in prison. Exactly. This was a sobering message, and I know it's not all glitz and glamour, but maybe this will save you from the path that you're on now. And that's, I weep and I cry, and when I see children or, teenagers and even adults walking on this destructive path, I weep because these are my neighbors. These are people that I grew up with school with. This could be my son. This could be my daughter. I weep because a lot of times they don't really know better because this is what they grew up. They kind of know that it's wrong, but then a lot of people they're hanging out with, this is the lifestyle. So we got to look out for them, and tell them if you can offer a word of encouragement, never stop giving, never stop giving a word of advice to the young kids, trust me, they will listen to you, you know, and show them, listen, I go to work and maybe I don't have a ton of money, but at the end of the day, I can rest my head, you know, and we don't have to stay in a bad situation, you know. Junior, God's got his arms out, and even if you're in a far place, God's still there. He's right there, present with you. That's another thing, too. We don't have to search after God. God's got his hand right there waiting for you. But we have a lot of resources for young children and adults alike because they always want to build up the community and stuff, but it's a matter of reaching out for these services. Nobody can make you do anything, you know, but it's better to reach out, ask people. You can go online and there's resources and stuff, you know, and always give a word of advice to the kids, and no matter who it is, give, even if you don't think they're really listening, which kids, they seem like they're not listening, but they are listening. And when you show that you care, a world that's so cold can, you know, you bring the light into some places that are so cold. Because I've gone to places like that where it's like, it's just intimidating, the area, you know, you can just feel it sometimes. It's dark. And then somebody just gives you a smile or something, and it's like, ooh, you know, like it's a lot of, you could cut the tension with a knife, basically. That's what it's like sometimes. I know. And it's just rough. Some people grow up in very rough areas, but you don't have to stay in that situation. Whatever the situation is, it takes time, but the way to go about it is not to take other people's stuff and to do the wrong way and to the quick thing. The thing that's going to bring that money right then. It's not the proper way to do it. It takes time for success. It's like you plant a seed and then you have to water it, like we go to work every daily and save little by little. And then eventually you'll have something. Like I said, at the end of the day, when we can rest our head on our pillow, and even if we don't have a lot of furniture, but you have a small place to rest your head, just be thankful, because there's people that are in prison because they wanted the quick thing. So always choose a better path. Yeah, you know what, Junior? And when you do that, you will start to feel joy. It's a lot of times it's not about because I know myself when I'm desperate and when I'm really feeling terrible inside, when I start to share, God starts to bring that joy into my life, you know? We bring that light and then people light up too. And God's going to bless you for that. You are blessed. You're still a child of God, even if you're in a far off place. You're the prodigal son. And the enemy whispers to us too. Don't feel like nobody loves you. Even if in this situation, God loves you. God cares about you. God wants the best plan for you. It's never easy. God's plan is never easy. It's never an easy path. Sorry I have this on my dog, but he's a good boy. Yeah. So, I just, sorry, I got it at the floor. I don't have it on me because I just got done, but I wanted to redo this message, and, it's a little bit serious. I'm not always serious, but if I can offer some advice, I want to. And I do have experience, like I had to go into a prison to visit somebody, and it's very intimidating. It took a long time to visit somebody, and it's not easy. So you're not always going to have somebody either to come up there too. You don't want to be stuck in prison. So just calculate the cost before you make decisions. Don't go on peer pressure, because people that are on a destructive path, they don't really care. They don't think long and hard. It's just a split second, you know. And this is Tony. Hey, my puppy. I mean, my puppy. Are you a puppy? Yeah. Say hi. Meow. Tony, gato. Hello. Adotani. Adota gato. Nanadina. You guys want to hear Selena? Hello, bomb exploitation. Oh, God. No, I'm allowed to say that. All right, how about I sing Selena in 3, 2, 1. Late at night while all the world is sleeping, I stay up and think of you. And I still can't believe that you came up to me and said, I love you. I love you too. Now I'm dreaming of you tonight till tomorrow. I'll be holding you close, and there's nowhere in the world I'd rather be. Here in my room, dreaming about you and me. I just wanna hold you close, but so far all I have are dreams of you. So I wait for the day then I just say I love you. I love you too. Now I'm dreaming of you tonight till tomorrow. I'll be holding you tight, and there's nowhere in the world I'd rather be. Here in my room, dreaming about you and me. I hope you like that, guys. Let's see. Sábado, domingo, lunes, martes, miércoles, viernes, jueves, sábado, domingo. Is today Friday, guys? Oh boy, that's loud. Today's Friday. I don't know if I messed up the song, but all right. Well, that's my thoughts on this. And if you can, please share if you ever known anybody that was in prison or whatever. If you ever went to community jail, I know a lot of people don't want to share this, but what's one thing you could share that would help the young generation and people that think that even if it's hard, would save them from a life of trouble? We don't really realize how blessed we are. Never take your freedom for granted, though, and protect it. All right, guys, please don't give up. Keep going and always choose the right thing, the better path. Okay, I know we make some mistakes, but choose the better path, okay? I appreciate you guys so much, and just know that people do make mistakes, and it's okay. You can change your life right today. Starting today. Maybe you have to pay for the mistakes, okay? But starting today is a new day. If we go forward every day, and when you ask God forgiveness, God forgave you because He sent Jesus to that cross. And if you feel like you're picking it up again, look at the cross and lay it down and give it to God because Jesus paid the penalty. Okay? Love you guys. God bless. Have a good night. Thank you for coming in. Hey, Sister Winnie. All right, I'm going, Sister Winnie. Have a good weekend, guys. God bless you.